Doesn't mean things can't be messy at the start, but once whatever's getting done is done, I want things to be clean again. It brings me peace. It's just a brush, but I can feel its power when I hold it in my hands. I used to wonder if that's what it felt like to be an artist, holding the paintbrush against the canvas, making sense of the world, chaos that surrounds us, making us question the decisions we've made. Pollock, Monet, Picasso, Banksy. They show us the way they see things. But how can we see it too? I was born in Bristol. My dad says that I used to sweep up round the kitchen as a toddler. I'd try and carry the broom out into the garden and get stuck in the door. Where are you going, he'd say. To clean outside, I'd say. It was him that persuaded me to become an engineer. A job for life. So I did an apprenticeship at Rover in Longbridge and stayed. I was always the last one on our shift to go home, sweeping up before the next lot arrived. I enjoyed it there, making cars. It didn't look like very much, but we'd made them. We were proud of what we sent out. I remember it was a Thursday because there'd been football on the TV the night before. We were still talking about it when production stopped. I remember usually it'd be one of the lines, but this time every line had been halted. We were called into this meeting room. It was the site manager. We'd not seen him for a while. We were packed in like sardines. I found something to stand on. He looked tense. Said something about cash flow. Nobody's buying British cars. Plants being shut. As we shuffled out of that room, we wondered what we'd say to our families when we got home that night. Payoff would be good. There are other car plants, some said. But I knew I'd never make another car. So we moved back into my Bristol to Stokescroft. I got a job at Airbus. The wife looked after the kids. My oldest son used to race around the room pretending to be an airplane. Planes are just like cars, aren't they, Dad? But bigger with wings? That's what we make, I tell him. The wings before sending them to France. All the clever stuff's in the wings. They wouldn't let me sweep up at work. So I did it outside, every morning, before anyone else is awake. Even Turbo Island. I love the smell of Stokescroft in the morning. Smells like victory. If victory smells like piss and sick. I remember one winter morning I saw a chap spraying on one of the derelict buildings. I nearly told him to shove off until I'd seen what he'd done. It was so bright against the dull walls. I watched him, his arm moving large arcs through the air. "Do you want to go?" he said, and offered me a spray can. I was hooked from that moment. They say art reflects life. In its simplest forms, it's just marks on a wall. The first humans did it. But why? I think it was so they could say, I was here. I existed. You never forget the smell of it. The colours don't look the same at night either, but it's safer. We started using stencils for speed, less chance of getting caught. Dancing Elvis. Santa on his sleigh, and a fabulous rainbow across a metal hoarding. They're all mine. I smile at them as I walk past them in the daytime. More and more appeared, and others started to tidy the place up too. It was becoming something. A community. People said I should go into politics. Try for mayor. People of Bristol, elect me as your mayor, and every man, woman and child will receive a free broom and must clean their side of the street once a day. Huh? So, the kids went back to school and the wife went back to work. She teaches IT. She's all right, she is. She says it was my stories of famous painters that first attracted her. I think it was my good looks. She knows what I do, but we don't talk about it. She wants a better place to live, and so do we all. Someone had come in the morning. All of them were gone. Everything was covered in these grey squares. Elvis was dead. One of the boys on Turbo Island had seen the council van pull up nearby. I kept my head down for a bit, still swept outside, and kept on thinking of ways to get around it. We formed a community action group and applied for grants, did up the inside of these forgotten shells, and used the internet to recruit people to the cause. Others kept on painting at night, but the councilmen just covered them up. A few of us were taken in for questioning. So, well, people were behind us. The place was looking better. It was getting harder and harder for them to stop us. The council came to our building to see how we were spending the grant money, to check it met our submitted intentions. They were looking for an excuse to shut it down. Rumours were they were short of money. They'd taken on corporate sponsorship, renaming landmarks. Philadelphia Triangle, the Uber Bridge. Anyway, an argument broke out and someone got pushed. So they stopped making the payments and threatened to shut the building. Most left. Few of us, the Coghlan's, kept going. Edward Coghlan was born in Bristol in 1833. He taught himself architecture and went on to design many beautiful buildings and interiors. Oscar Wilde was a client of his. The Coghlan's kept things going. We prevented corporate chains from opening and protested further out, sabotaged the site due for fracking. The police came on a Sunday morning. My kids cried as I was pushed into the car. In the interview room, they told me what would happen if we failed to stop what we'd been doing. Close the building, have a word with my employer. When I got home, the wife had moved out with the kids. I told her what was happening. She asked me to stop. But how could I when we'd come so far? Society is always in balance, but never still. Always moving between extremes, favouring one side and then the other. Left, right, rich, poor. But in the end, it just moves in smaller and smaller circles. Sometimes it needs a shock to reset itself. As I stood on top of the observatory, I remember thinking, there's 500,000 souls asleep below us right now, and not one of them will see it. The Coghlan's had stopped traffic on both sides. A breeze blew across my face. I pushed the button. First there were puffs of smoke on either side, and the sound of explosions, and then more as the charges on the cables were triggered. A few broke, and then the rest began to stretch as they bore the load. It fell from the Abbott's Lee side, brushing the cliff face and breaking off branches. More cables snapped, and then the rest of the bridge fell into the gorge. A deep rumble shook the earth. I could taste iron on my tongue. Some were too shocked to cheer. I went home and waited. So, here I am, HMP Bristol, blank walls, blank floors. They let me keep a broom, still calms me. Wife and kids fit out on Sunday. They're rebuilding the bridge. I'll probably be out before it's finished. Till then, I just need to keep myself busy.